Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mason, and thank you for joining us today for this UCM League of Legends stream. As of right now, we are currently in the picks and bans phase. As we can see, UCM has already banned an Azir, and
I
UMN
must not
has
fall.
already banned Shen. Out comes the Leona ban. An incredibly powerful support as of right now. So
Your
far,
worst
and the
decisions will
Morgana
haunt
as
you.
well. So far we've banned a mid laner and a support, and they have banned a top-end support. Of course, Morgana can also be flexed mid.
Fine. I don't need more
Out
enemies.
comes the Senna. Here in a brief moment, while we're loading into the game, I'll give a
Your
quick
commands tire me.
of the game for everyone that doesn't know how to play, and what the objective is. Out comes the Vigar ban, and Caitlyn will be the first pick for UCM, it's looking like, indeed. UMN will respond with what appears to be a Thresh pick right off the bat. As of right now, Caitlyn is probably one of, if not the strongest AD carries in the entire game. Teemo. Oh no, no way. They got me. They got me for a second there. The Ashe pick coming out from UMN. Looks like their bot lane has been selected. Olaf coming out from UCM. Once again, we have, as of right now, all of these picks are incredibly solid. As I stated previously, Caitlyn is one of the strongest AD carries. Olaf is one of the strongest junglers, and here comes Nautilus as well for our third pick. So both teams now have their bot lane selected. We also have Olaf in the jungle. After this third pick for UMN, we will be re-entering the bans phase. Soul coming out from UMN. So, they have their bot lane and mid selected. We have our bot lane and jungle. UMN has first ban of the second phase.
You're scared. Good to know. Cool phone.
Currently, the last two rules that we need are mid and top, and theirs is going to be top and jungle. Mordekaiser ban coming out, incredibly good. So, currently Mordekaiser is, once again, one of the strongest top laners. He can be flexed into mid as well. Here comes the Echo ban from UCM, and now all bans are finished. We are moving into the final picks. J4 selected for UMN. So, as it stands as of right now, UMN has an incredible amount of CC on their team. Thresh's hooks and plays, as well as his ult. Ashe ult slows passively, and her ult has an incredibly long stun timer. Aurelion Soul ult, Jarvan for knockup. We picked the Ahri for mid into Aurelion Soul. Perhaps some of that kiting potential will help around Aurelion Soul's meteors. And it looks like Ornn will be our final pick for top. If this game reaches late game, Ornn is going to be one of the most helpful champions to select. Renekton, in response to the Ornn, looks like it's being hovered. Ornn's passive ability allows him to upgrade his allies' items throughout the game, so in the late game that will give UCM a significant advantage. And the Renekton level is down. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the teams. So, while we are preparing to enter the game itself, I will give a brief explanation over the mechanics and the rules. For anyone who doesn't know how to play, League of Legends is of course a 5v5 team game, as you can probably tell from this character select. The objective of the game is going to be to push through the map to the other side and destroy the enemy team's nexus. To do so, you will have to destroy turrets along the way that protect the enemy and kill the enemy champions. That'll reward you with gold, as well as minion kills, which will also reward gold, which can be used to purchase items. The more items you have,
ladies and
the more
gentlemen.
powerful.
My name is Mason, and thank you for joining
the
us
more
today.
powerful the character. So, here we go into the game. Looking at UMN's team, as stated previously, they have an incredible amount of CC. Every single one of those champions has some form of CC, whether it's a slow, a stun. For anyone who is not familiar with League of Legends terminology, a CC is crowd control, basically a way of hurting the enemy team in some way, making it harder for them to fight. So basically, how League of Legends works, each of the 5 players has a designated role to fill. If you look at this champion select screen right now, that we are hovering on waiting for the delay, Ornn and Renekton will be going top. That's an area usually designated to bruisers or tanks, characters that can take a whole lot of hits, which both of those characters are. Jungle is a little bit special. It doesn't have a set lane. You can see on this map we have 3 different sections and then an area in between. That area in between is called the jungle. That is where the jungler goes. They will kill monsters in said jungle, and they will perform an action known as ganking. Ganking is when a jungler pops into a lane in order to assist whoever is there, either by hurting the enemy, perhaps getting a kill, or even knocking down a turret along the way. Mid lane is usually reserved for assassins and mages. Both of the characters in mid right now are mages. And bot lane has 2 for each, 2 characters on each side. Those being the AD carry and support. The AD carry's job is to deal a whole lot of damage from a long distance, and the support's job is just to keep them alive. Eventually, of course, each player does not have to stay in their lane. Eventually we will reach, later on in the game, team fight phase, which is essentially where laning phase has ended and everyone will just kind of run around the whole map. There are also 2 different objectives that are very, very important to the game. In the lower half of the jungle, it is the Drakes, or dragons. Each of them is assigned to one of 4 elements and Elder Dragon. Killing those dragons will give you a significant boost to damage, armor, ultimate ability cooldown, or, oh man, health regeneration, respectively. And in the top half of the jungle are 2 separate objectives depending on the stage of the game, those being Rift Herald and Baron Nashor. Rift Herald can be killed early on to destroy towers for your team, and Baron Nashor is an incredibly powerful monster that can be killed late game. It doesn't spawn until later on, which we will most likely see. And if you kill it, you get an incredible boost to all of your stats, and also, whenever you stand around minions, they get powered up, making it way easier to push into the enemy team's base. The objective is to destroy the large crystal structure in either side, known as the Nexus, and when one team does that, we will have a winner. These games are going to be based in best of 3 matches, so stay tuned, because there will be 1 or 2 more, depending on the outcome of the second game. And we're currently waiting for the load. You will notice that each character has specific runes here. These are passive abilities that will assist their champions throughout the game. The most noteworthy of which is most likely Conqueror. It's an incredibly powerful rune right now. Basically, it gives a boost to damage and also heals you after a short delay. And here we are in game. So, as you can see, UCM is going to be the blue side. We will be fighting on red. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. We've got some technical things that we need to take care of. The stream will be frozen for a moment.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift. 30 seconds until minions
Alright, and welcome back. As we can see, the game has already started. This is what is called a scrim line. Basically, all of the champions line up throughout the map in different areas, trying to get vision on the enemy team. As of right now, we already saw a little skirmish here in the top river between Ari and J4.
Minions have spawned.
There we go, just getting some stuff done real quick. Sorry. Throughout the game, I'll pop this up periodically. This will assist in letting us see what every character has built. So, each team will begin in the jungle. This is called a leash, when the bot lane or nearest lane assists the jungler in killing the first buff, because sometimes it can be mildly difficult. One of the most interesting lanes I think that we're going to see today is definitely going to be the mid lane. As we can see, Elysian Soul from the UMN team is a very special kind of character. As you can see, these orbiting stars around him deal damage, and quite a bit of it too. So everyone's going to have to watch out for that, and it's going to make it incredibly hard for mid lane to apply pressure effectively. Luckily, Ari is an incredibly mobile champion. Very, very dashy. So hopefully it will... I mean, I assume that's why it was picked into the Elysian Soul, is we can dodge around said meteors. Oop. Hook coming out in the bot lane, Ignite coming down. And unfortunately, UMN has taken first blood. So, Thresh's main ability is that he is a hook champion. Basically, what you saw there previously is he got pulled in and he was unable to do anything. So, that will be first blood coming out for UMN. A little bit of a jungle fight happening right up here, but nothing comes of it. Olaf is moving up towards the top lane here, hoping to get a surprise kill in the Renekton, but Red has vision in the river and he will back off. Another hook coming out in bot, but nothing comes of that one. J4 and Olaf both applying pressure primarily towards top lane here. And J4 begins to move towards bot. A little bit of a skirmish here happening here in top lane. The knockup coming down from Ornn. Renekton lifesteals that bit. And they will back off. Caitlyn laying down traps here in lane. If the enemy team is to step inside of those, they get rooted temporarily, and Caitlyn gets a huge damage boost against them. So, looks like Thresh moving in, hook coming out, misses. Nothing comes of it again. J4 over here is invading. Ari has vision on him, but is getting collapsed on by the Elysian Soul. Flash coming out, the charm. And Ari gets away just fine. Well played from UCM. As I was talking about previously, before I got a bit distracted there, these Caitlyn traps in lane are going to make it very, very hard for UMN to maneuver around this lane, and eventually later on she will be able to lay them down in other places, of course. Once again, a little bit of a skirmish happening here in the top lane. Renekton getting in some poke up Ornn. Olaf coming into the mid lane. Unfortunately, Elysian Soul backs off too quickly. Thresh backing down here in the bot lane. Alright. So throughout the game, periodically, for everyone who doesn't know League of Legends, as you can see, these characters are returning to their base. This is where you can buy items. As you can see, Ari has purchased 2 amplifying tomes here. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. Alright. This was the Drake that we were talking about earlier here. J4 currently on top of Infernal. If UMN receives this objective, they will get a boost to their attack damage throughout the rest of the game. And it looks like, indeed, Drake falls to UMN. Little bit of a play happening here in bot lane. Looks like we're going to have a visitor. Thresh moving up. J4 and Aurelion Sol both coming down. The knockup from J4, stun from Aurelion Sol. Both teams receive a kill here. Olaf going after the J4 receives another one. TP coming down from Ari. Ashe taken down. Olaf as well. And the remaining two from UCM and UMN will back off. Caitlyn gets stunned, still looking for the trap headshot. The charm from the Ari. And a second trap. That'll be the mid laner dead for UMN. All in all, that was an incredibly good fight. Oh, another skirmish happening up here in the top lane. Nothing much coming out of it. UCM is currently ahead by 1 kill, but UMN has advantage because of Dragon buff currently. That's receiving 4% bonus attack and ability power. Once all of these characters hit level 6, they will receive their ultimate ability. That's what you can see over here on the side, their levels. Currently, the only lanes that do not have their ult are bot and the jungles. Top and mid both have theirs. Ari doing an incredibly good job of keeping up with CS against an Aurelion Sol. As you can see, she is behind by 20, but she's getting zoned out. Aurelion Sol dashing down towards Nautilus here. 3 from UMN. Misses the charm. Nautilus looks like he might be falling here. And indeed, Nautilus falls. It is now tied 4-4 for kills. Caitlyn and Ashe having just a little bit of a poke battle here in the bot lane. Ari still looking for a play on J4. Now it looks like we have a mostly passive top lane so far. Oh, never mind. Ornn ult coming down. Misses the ult, but the Olaf coming in with a slow. Renekton ults in response. The knockup. The Ashe gets a kill on the Caitlyn and bot in the meantime. The battle still happening up here in the top lane. Looks like Ornn might fall to the Renekton ult. No, taking tower shots. He survived just barely. Bot lane now pushing up to attack UCM's tower. Bot lane backs off once again. It is now 4-6 in kills. We missed 1 kill in the bot lane while spectating up top. As we can see, Rift Herald has now spawned up here in the jungle. It looks like UMN is going to be right on top of that, but a play coming down in mid. The TP coming out from Renekton up here in top. Ari looks like she's going to be receiving the kill. Olaf takes the kill on Aurelion Sol, and UMN backs off. And that's going to be a kill for jungle. Olaf is now 3-2 with Ari at 2-1 here as well. Bot lane's getting pushed back since Thresh is out of lane, but UMN is still on top of Rift Herald and will receive it. Top lane pushing up, but he starts to back off. Oh, J4 ult coming down. Ornn gets away. Rift Herald coming down in top lane. One moment, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, we've adjusted my volume slightly. Hopefully I'll be a little bit louder here. Renekton taking a tower shot. Blue's starting to even the tide here, UCM with 5 kills to UMN 6. Looks like a little bit of a skirmish might be about to start in the jungle here right around Drake. This is Cloud Drake, so... Oh, Red takes a tower in top. Alright, misses the stun. The slow on Thresh. Thresh flashes. Now Ashe is exposed. Aurelion Soul stun coming in. Misses. The knock up on Ashe. J4 coming in as well. This is quite the fight. Ashe ult coming down. The J4 knock up. Aurelion Soul ult. That's going to be 2 for UMN. The Thresh hook. Olaf ult coming out in response. Ahri, unfortunately, looks a little bit trapped here. And Ahri will also fall. This looks like a Cloud Drake for UMN, so when taken, this will also give them a bonus 10% cooldown to their ultimate ability. Meanwhile, Renekton is pushing through mid. Ornn coming down in response. Currently, UMN has a 5,000 gold lead, which will assist them greatly in buying items here. Thresh Flay coming out, but Ornn is a little bit too tanky at this point to be poked down so easily. Bot lane is getting some tower platings here, some bonus gold for them. As you can see here, this is the distribution of kills currently. Ashe is 3 and 1. That's going to be a large problem for UCM. Consistent damage coming down from Ashe is a really large problem. She has an incredible amount of abilities that she can use in teamfights, such as her ult and W, which is like the spread of arrows, which will hit. Those all deal magic damage as well, which is kind of the opposite of what you would expect Ashe to do. So it can be harder to build against since it's split damage between physical and magical. J4 coming into the bot lane here. UCM picks up vision on him. Nautilus hook misses Ashe ult, but it is flashed by the Caitlyn. Nautilus gets hooked. Aurelion Soul coming in through the top. Stun will miss. Nautilus ult coming down. Nautilus is going to fall here, and UCM is forced to back off. Aurelion Soul still looking for the picks here. There's now 4 in the bot lane while Renekton pushes in mid. Oh, Ahri falls to the Aurelion Soul, and that looks like it might be an entire bot tower. Meanwhile, in mid, we have a small fight between Ornn and Renekton here. Renekton dashes out, however. Some solid headshots coming down from the Caitlyn here, dealing a lot of damage to the J4. Thresh and Aurelion Soul are going to back off. Mid lane now looking a little bit low here. That's 2 towers for UMN, both in top and bot, and mid lane's looking pretty low while Renekton moves top to push in that wave again. Ornn moving up in response. Meanwhile, bot lane is going to be pushing up through jungle. Some vision in mid. Ahri clearing waves throughout mid, making sure that this wave isn't pushed in too far. J4 invades through our jungle. Takes takes Olaf's blue buff in the meantime. He's going to give it to someone else, maybe Ahri. Ooh. Ashe stun coming down. Nothing much comes out of that fight, though. UMN is moving up through our jungle here. We don't have too much vision. Moving in towards the mid lane, J4 ult coming down onto the Ahri. The knock-up, Ahri's going to fall to the J4. And the Nautilus flash away from Thresh Hook. This is going to be quite the skirmish here in mid. Aurelion Soul coming up behind with the Renekton. Nautilus falls. Olaf runs with his ults. He becomes unstoppable, so he can't be shut down by anything like hooks or the flays. And it's now 5-13 in UMN's favor. They've pushed up 3 towers, each of the primary ones. Thresh lands a hook onto the Caitlyn, but she traps. She nets away. Stun from Aurelion Sol coming down. Ashel. Ooh, goodness. This is not looking like a good fight for UCM here. They will take a second mid tower. Ari defending here all by herself against all 5. Unfortunately, J4 coming up. Nautilus is back. Lands the root onto Renekton, but it's not going to be enough. There's just too much damage there. Aurelion Sol pushing our Ari back into our base, and it looks like they're going to be taking an inhibitor tower on blue side. The charm coming out from Ari, but she's getting hit by the meteors a little bit too much. Caitlyn ult coming down, almost kills the Aurelion Sol there. A very close kill. Alright. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. There's a bit of technical difficulties with our first time streaming here, but it's quite alright. UMN moving up to take the Rift Herald, while UCM appears to be gathering around for Drake. Aurelion Sol coming in here all by his own, if they can look for a play. UMN is going to take the Rift Heralds. They have a second one now. Moving up towards top with it, it looks like. Ari lands the charm. Olaf coming in to assist. Ooh, unfortunately, Aurelion Sol ult comes down. Will take out the Ari. And also the Olaf, killed by the meteors. That's the issue with zoning against Aurelion Sol. It's incredibly difficult to move away from those at all times and keep track of them. Looks like Rift Herald had a little bit of a problem charging up there. And they will move in to take a third top lane tower. UCM takes the Drake, which will give them some extra armor and magic resist, but will be enough. Inhibitor looks like it's going to get destroyed right here. Indeed it does. And that is super minions for red top. Shelly dies here, but they almost have a Nexus tower. Second inhibitor falling out to UNM. Ooh, Thresh misses a hook just barely. Ari moving up. Ornult coming down. Knocking up 2. Gets the hook. J4 ult coming down. Caitlyn headshots still coming out here, dealing a ton of damage. Ashe in the meantime took down the Ari, unfortunately. And it is now just the Caitlyn on the Rift, while UNM moves up to begin taking Nexus towers. And that'll be a kill for the Aurelion Sol on Caitlyn. One Nexus tower has been destroyed already. It looks like UNM is backing off temporarily. Blue clearing waves here. UNM is going to fall back. And we just have a little bit of a tower left to defend our Nexus. 2 inhibitors down. Currently we're going to be forced to play defensively from these super minions coming in. As you can see, they're far more powerful than regular minions. They take a lot more hits to take down. Red moving in through our jungle once again. This is going to be a tight spot to get out of, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, UNM up here at the top has a very large gold advantage. Renekton ult coming down. The engage from J4 immediately takes out the Caitlyn. Nautilus falling as well, gets trapped. Thresh hook lands, but Olaf ults away from it. Quite the fight. That's going to be 2 down for UCM. Looks like Ari falls as well. 3 down. Ornult coming out here. Misses the ult there. And that looks like second Nexus tower falling, and our Nexus is revealed. Olaf falls to the J4 and Aurelion Sol. And ladies and gentlemen, that's looking like it will be the game. Ornn falls to once again the combination of J4 and Aurelion Sol. And that is the game, ladies and gentlemen. UMN takes first match. Don't go anywhere though, because here in 15 minutes the next game will be beginning, so please join us. Thank you very much. Oh, welcome back everyone. So this will be the second game in our best of 3 match. Aurelian Soul ban coming out from UCM this time, and the Olaf from UMN. Morgana once again. We talked about these a little bit last time. I think the UCM ban of Aurelian Soul is definitely a very good idea. Last time he was an incredibly deciding factor in the teamfight damage. Aside from that, we're seeing mostly the same bans overall. And it's going much faster this time. Third ban coming down from UCM shortly. Ash going out. Another very good ban. Looking at last game, Aurelian Soul and Ash were two of the biggest team fighters, dealing the most amount of damage and the widest spread. Aurelian Soul's passive and his ultimate both dealt huge swaths of damage, and Ash just has incredible teamfight potential, especially building something like Runon's Hurricane, which will allow her to attack multiple targets combined with her W and ult. It's really just an incredible amount of utility from both of those champions. The Thresh pick coming back from UMN, and we're going to see what UCM picks in response here. Also, for everyone that's watching, that's interested, currently there's an application for the Fall 2020 for the UCM Esports available on our Facebook. You can check that. Oh, look at that right there on the screen. Another Caitlyn pick, and this time we have Elysian for the jungle. Shortly we'll see UMN's second pick here. So if anyone is interested in joining the UCM Esports team, just head on over to our Facebook and fill that out. Elysian will certainly help here with jungle pressure. She has an incredible amount of utility with stuns, as well as a huge amount of burst damage. Elysian pick coming out from UMN. Once again, these are all incredibly powerful champions. Elysian is very good right now if you know how to use him. He's also incredibly mobile, so he'll be able to dodge around a lot of the stuff that we're throwing out. Elysian's skill shots are going to be perhaps a problem to hit on Elysian, just because of his mobility. Misfortune pick for the bot lane. Misfortune is another champion that has a lot of AoE damage. It can hit a large area. Her ultimate especially shreds through armor very quickly, and her passive allows her to hit 2 targets at once, and if the first one dies, it deals a lot more damage on the second hit. And it looks like we're picking support here, Janna, in response to the Thresh. So the idea here, I can only assume with the Janna into Thresh, is when Thresh moves in to throw a hook or pulls himself to his hook target, Janna can ult or tornado anyone off of the Caitlyn. Basically, it's just an easy way to keep the Caitlyn safe when the enemy team dives in on her with the Elysian or the Thresh. Another Fiora ban coming out here from UCM. She's very good right now, so that is another understandable one. See what UMN bans in response. And then here shortly we'll move into the second round of picking. Ornn banned from UMN. The Ornn utility is very good with his ult. As you saw last game, it dealt a lot of CC to the enemy team. It's incredibly powerful. In the first path, it moves in and it applies a status effect called Brittle, which makes all CC last longer. And then the following hit, if it hits a second time, it will knock them up for an extended period of time because of said Brittle. That was also incredibly powerful combined with the Ahri Charm last time, which, as you can see, UMN has now banned. And UCM bans Talia for our last pick, or for our last ban. Now moving into the final 2 picks for both teams, a Heimerdinger coming down from UCM. That can easily be a flex either mid or top, but an interesting pick nonetheless. He has a lot of burst damage. His ultimate is incredibly versatile. He can just upgrade any of his other abilities. A Renekton looks like it's being hovered from UMN. And the Renekton pick will come back. So, in the event that Heimerdinger goes top into the Renekton, there will be a very large advantage, at least in the early game, towards the Heimerdinger, simply because of his range. Whereas late game, it's a little bit more iffy, especially if the Renekton scales up very, very well. He can just destroy Heimerdinger's turrets and jump on top of him. Akali for the last pick of UMN. Now, Akali recently got changed. I don't know if it's live in this patch, but she is going to get nerfed. As of right now, though, she is still incredibly, incredibly powerful. Looks like that's coming into mid, and Jax is our final pick. So Heimerdinger is going mid, and Jax is going top into the Renekton, which is very, very good. Jax is a solid counter for a lot of the tankier aura champions, as in like someone who has an effect around them, such as Renekton's ultimate. He's very, very good at that, and he's also very good against auto-attack based champions such as Renekton, because he can dodge them with his W. As you saw earlier, this will be the second game of today's matches. Keep in mind that this is best of 3, so this could be a deciding game, or we could go for another one here. We're hopefully looking at another game, but who will know? As of right now, we're currently going to be on a spectator timer, and then we'll be in game again. So, looking at both of these teams, just character-wise and lane-wise, as I already said, Jax is a very, very good counter to a lot of bruiser top laners right now, such as Renekton himself. Elysian is going to be very, very hard, I think, for the Elise to take care of, but definitely not undoable, and if Elise ganks frequently, she can definitely jump ahead. Now, the problem is going to arise in the late game when Lee Sin can jump into our backline like Caitlyn or Heimerdinger and just deal a bunch of damage and kick them to the front, basically exposing them for the rest of the team. But that's exactly the idea of the Janna pick from our team. It'll keep Thresh and Lee Sin off of us, like I said earlier. Her ultimate tornadoes are very, very good at stopping engages. Akali versus Heimerdinger in the mid lane is definitely going to be an interesting one. Heimerdinger has a lot of AoE that he can still hit Akali and her invisibility with, but if Akali dashes to Heimerdinger, he might just be done for, so we'll just have to see what happens there. And finally we have in the bot lane, the Misfortune versus the Caitlyn. Now overall, both of these AD carries are incredibly powerful right now. Caitlyn's headshots deal a ton of damage, especially if you can get a whole bunch of them off on traps and nets, and and also early game poke damage. So that can make her very scary to fight early, especially with a Thresh for a support. They're very engage heavy. Thresh can easily, if he lands a hook, he can jump in, flare backwards, and then they might just be done for there because of Misfortune's early game damage. However, later on in the game, while Thresh will still apply a lot of pressure, Misfortune will probably fall off harder than Caitlyn. Especially if Caitlyn can get a couple of early game kills and get ahead, get some crit chance, Storm Razor, it will make it much, much easier for her to fight the Misfortune in the late game. We can also take a look here, something that I did not explain very well in the last match, is if you look here along the sides, you can see these are called summoner spells. These little icons designate what each character is taking. Each player gets 2. There are quite a few different popular ones that we can see here. Flash is the main one you will see. It is the yellow. It's the little guy that looks like he's jumping forward. This is just a short teleport. When last game when I mentioned someone flashed, that's what it was. It's an incredibly, incredibly versatile spell. You can use abilities and then jump away with Flash or jump in further. And here we go into the game. We'll see shortly how this turns out. I'm most interested to see what happens in the mid lane, because I honestly have no idea how one-sided the Akali and Heimerdinger matchup will be. I'm very, very fascinated to see how this works out. Some other interesting runes and summoner spells real quick. As you can see, this, what Misfortune is taking, this is called Press the Attack. Basically, whenever she autos a couple of times, it increases all damage dealt to a source. So late game, it'll increase her versatility by quite a bit. And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we're going to be watching the teams go ahead and leash here, most likely. The scrim line is currently being set up from both teams. Jackson and Renekton looking at each other here. That looks like almost what happened to be a skirmish, but nothing quite that extreme just yet. Oh, I was incorrect. Renekton gets a little bit of a poke off here on Jax, and Jax is going to back in response. Or not. So, what's happening here, as you can see, the junglers go ahead and move backwards. That is because, look at the Mastery Flash. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, that is when monsters spawn in the jungle, or buffs spawn. So on each team there's going to be a red buff and a blue buff. Up here is going to be a red buff, down here is blue. And killing those will grant you a lot of XP if you're a jungler, and also passive effects. Red buff will increase your health regeneration and the damage that you deal, whereas blue buff will increase your mana regeneration, the stuff you have to use for abilities, as well as how often you can use your abilities, your cooldown. As you can see, Heimerdinger is absolutely horrible to fight against, at least early on in the game here. He's setting up his towers around the lane, making it very, very hard for Akali to push forward here. Bot lane is going to have to watch out, especially early game, like I mentioned. If Thresh lands a hook, it can be very, very scary for both of them. A little bit of a skirmish happening here in the top lane. As I mentioned before, Jax is a very, very powerful pick against a lot of these bruiser top laners right now. So hopefully that will result in a lane win for UCM here. But as of right now, bot lane's going to play it very, very safe, I think, or at least that's my guess, because getting hooked by Thresh is almost certain death this early. You can see Heimerdinger is still setting up his turrets all around. Jax getting pushed in a little bit here, but nothing too intense just yet. Heimerdinger getting a little bit of poke here on this Akali. And everyone's just kind of at a standstill for a little bit here. Everyone's facing each other down, waiting for one side to make a mistake. Pushing in lanes. A second passive on Heimerdinger's turrets here. Oh, never mind, there's a fight happening down here in the bot lane. Ignite coming down on the Caitlyn, and also on the Thresh. Thresh will just barely survive along with the Caitlyn. Lee Sin coming in, though. Ooh, the double up coming down, hitting the Caitlyn. Lee Sin coming in from behind. Elise's flayed under tower. Caitlyn's going to fall to the Lee Sin, and and Thresh picks up the kill on the Elise. That is 2 kills for UMN right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen. Meanwhile, top lane is going at it here. Jax gets the jump into Renekton. Flashes away, though. Very, very close fight. Lee also drops Janna here in the jungle. There's still a little bit of a fight happening up here in top. Jax is going to have to play this one really safe. If Renekton gets a single dodge jump off, he could fall. Lee Sin coming in behind the Heimerdinger. Sets up the stun, flashes away. Akali takes a tower shot, but is shielded by Lee Sin. Elise coming in, picking off the Renekton, backing behind tower. Well done. That is the first kill for UCM here. And one moment once again. looks like we're having a little bit of an issue with the volume control here, so we apologize for that. It's first day stream struggles. We're getting everything set up here, so. Elysian and Renekton having a little bit of a run in here. And Thresh moving up to the mid lane, trying to land the hook on Heimerdinger, but unfortunately just takes a tower shot in response. So this is one of the reasons that Akali is so strong right now. She has this invisibility. It looks like there's a skirmish here in the bot lane. Janna hits a double tornado. Forces UMN to back off. And Elisa's waiting here in the bushes for the Akali to step out a little bit too far. Misses the stun, but she flashes away. Lee Sin coming back down as well. Elise rappelling out. Just barely makes it out. Thresh coming up to assist the Heimerdinger, or to assist their team against the Heimerdinger. And everyone gets away for now. Lee Sin still looking for a pick on this Elise, but Elise sees him, runs away. Top lane pushing into UCM right now. Jax just hit level 6, looking for a nice little whack there on the Renekton. Lee Sin invading, taking Grump. So, one of the things happening in the jungle right now is Grump is one of the largest sources of XP. So UMN stealing UCM's Grump is very, very bad for our jungle. It'll put them pretty far behind in XP. Not horrible, but it will definitely put us at a disadvantage temporarily. Also looks like Lee Sin is moving in to take the Drake right now, but backs off. Looking for a play on the bot lane. And bot lane will back off. Looks like they're going to try to take a Drake here. This is Cloud Drake again. This is the ultimate cooldown. UCM knows what's happening, but it is very, very difficult to contest this, especially with so many hard engaged champions such as Lee Sin and Thresh in the area. And UMN will get first dragon. Bot lane slowly getting pushed in here. Thresh looking for the hook but misses it. And Jax looking for just a couple of pokes here on the Renekton, gets stunned out of it. But Renekton gets stunned in response. Renekton ult coming down. Jax just barely walks away from it. Elise coming up to assist there. Renekton still looking for a dash or some sort of play to take on this Jax, while Lee Sin moved into the mid lane. Thresh also coming up mid. Renekton probably has eyes. Yeah, Renekton has eyes on the Elise. Jax has the stun. Elise hits the stun as well, and it's a combo from the Elise that eventually finishes off Renekton. Lee Sin now moving up top, looking for a play on the Jax. Will be landing a kick there. And moves over to the Elise, but Elise will kill in response. Heimerdinger also fell there. I'm not quite sure what happened. I apologize for that. Caitlyn lands quite a few hits on the MF, but it's just not quite enough for a kill. Very, very close. There's a lot of dead champions on the Rift right now, ladies and gentlemen. Thresh pops a Scryers, gets some vision over on our ward. Bot lane pushing up, trying to get a tower plating here, but it doesn't look like we'll have too much luck with Thresh defending. Misfortune slowly coming up, lanterning in, and we do get the plating, so that's some bonus gold for our bot lane there. Heimerdinger's still looking for just any amount of poke that he can get on this Akali here. Like I said, he's very hard to play against because of that poke. Renekton taking a turret shot. And Lee Sin looks like he's going for Rift Herald here. It doesn't look like UCM has any vision, but the Akali's taking a lot of damage from all of these Heimerdinger turrets. Thresh moving up towards the mid lane here. And top lane in a rather large fight. Goodness, there's so much happening. Both of them flash in top. Heimerdinger gets hooked in response, though Elysian jumps up and kills Jax. Elise moving in to assist the Heimerdinger here. Elysian moving in, looking for the play. Heimerdinger gets kicked. Elise lands the stun and will get the kill. Very close there. Thresh just barely misses the hook. Ooh, Heimerdinger stops watch, but it's not going to be quite enough, and Elise is very, very close to falling here to the Akali. A very, very close fight there happening in the mid lane. Misfortune taking a lot of damage on her own here without Thresh. She doesn't have a way to engage by herself. So with Janna here, we have a huge advantage in the bot lane while Thresh is gone. Akali is going to be pushing in the mid lane tower and then backing. Elise roaming around here through the bot lane, clearing out some vision, taking a scuttle to get a speed boost there in the jungle. Looks like there's going to be a play happening shortly in bot. Elise coming in from far behind. The blue side can't see it. UMN going in. Lee Sin coming in as well. The Janna falls. Elise rappels out. Oof. Lee Sin jumping in. Dodges the stun. Gets a couple of kicks on the Elise. And the Caitlyn just barely makes it out of that Thresh hook. Is now 9-5 with UMN in the lead. Oh, but Caitlyn gets hooked back. Oh, she got kicked out by the Lee Sin. In response, she did kill him, but Thresh picks up the kill on our Caitlyn. 10-6 now, ladies and gentlemen. There we are, ladies and gents. Sorry. Still working on the audio issues. We're just getting everything sorted out. It'll be better next week. We're going to have one of these games for the next 6 weeks. If we go 5-1, so 5 wins and 1 loss, then we are able to make it to the playoffs. If we don't, of course, not the end of the world. Akali landing the jump onto Elise. Rift Herald coming out in top. Jax alone to defend this tower. Rift is going to charge now. Looks like top lane's going to fall. Jax backs off here. Good choice. Meanwhile, bot lane is taking a dragon in response. Although Thresh is looking for a pick here. Picks up the Caitlyn with a hook. Flays him backwards. Misfortune coming in. Jax is forced to back off as they continue to push top lane. And we take the Ocean Drake in response. So Ocean is going to be health regeneration. The third dragon will decide what type of map we're going to have this game. It is Inferno, so as you can see, some walls are now destroyed. Lee Sin moving in to steal our red. This opens up a lot of pathways throughout the jungle. Renekton ult coming down. Jax with a stun, looking to get away. Renekton still chasing him down. Now Lee Sin here to assist, and will unfortunately pick up the kill on our Jax. Bot lane's turret is still standing, but it's looking pretty low on health here. Unfortunately, we do not have too much damage on each of UMN's towers. But that's not too much of an issue just yet. Unfortunately, top lane is becoming an issue rather quickly with this pushing into our base deal here. As you can see, one of the strongest players on their team right now is going to be that Lee Sin. He already has 6 kills and only 3 deaths. Renekton coming into mid. Heimerdinger lands the stun. Ults down to tower. Stopwatches. Deals a lot of damage and gets out just fine. That's the Heimerdinger way. He is pretty horrible to fight against when you just... Oh, especially when you're melee. Someone like Akali has a very, very rough time fighting Heimerdinger. However, here comes the Lee Sin looking for a play here. The kick coming down. Ooh, and jumping to him. That's going to be Lee Sin's 7th kill. Lee Sin is very, very strong in the early game. and is still incredibly strong in the late game, but does slowly start to fall off. Jack's looking to defend this mid tower, but it's going to be rough against the Akali and the Thresh. Jumps into the Akali, deals a lot of damage right there, and bot lane tower finally falls. Mid lane is the last outer turret that's still standing. Meanwhile, everyone seems to be regrouping around the jungle. UCM is going to have to pay a lot of attention to the position of this top wave up here. As you can see, if it pushes in too far, we're going to lose this tower and then inhib immediately afterwards. Elysian taking Elise's blue. Elise looking to fight, but Renekton is here as well. Caitlyn here to assist, but unfortunately Elysian is just too strong and kills her before anything can come of it. Heimerdinger looking to defend mid here, ults the minions away. Elysian misses the engage. Top lane, there's a little bit of a fight coming down here. The Jack's getting hit up quite a bit by the Akali. Jack's ults in response, it'll just give him some extra armor and magic resist. Will it be enough? Ooh, the Thresh coming in to assist the Akali. Unfortunately, it does appear, oh, yep, that they have taken the Jack's out. And that is going to be a second Rift Herald for UMN as well. While mid lane is pushing out, they're now coming in behind. Can the Heimerdinger and Janna make it out alive? See, there's the Janna disengage that we were looking for. Heimerdinger is doing Heimerdinger things as usual. Elise coming in to assist. The Lee Sin jumping onto the Janna in the back lane, picking up the kill. Heimerdinger falling shortly after to the misfortune, and that is going to be a triple kill for UMN. Rift Herald's coming out here in the mid lane, going to finally finish off this mid tower that UCM has. Renekton, in the meantime, is going to be pushing up this bot tower, trying to take a second one from UCM. Rift Herald once again still attacking tower. Unfortunately, UCM is getting pushed back. The Thresh hook into the Misfortune ult is going to be a dead Jax. And that is a third Rift Herald charge. While meanwhile, Renekton is pushed up onto platform as well. They are now going after our inhibitors. Top lane is also pushed in, although no one from UMN has capitalized on that just yet. Elise gets hooked. Misfortune coming down at Kali. She rappels out. Renekton coming in from behind. Elise and Heimerdinger both going to fall there, as well as the Jax killed just a little bit earlier. That's going to be a second inhibitor falling for UCM. And top lane is still getting pushed into tower. Elysian jumping in, kicking away the Jax. Renekton tries to engage, but is stunned out by the Jax. Renekton falls, but Misfortune picks up the kill on the Jax. UCM slowly getting pushed back towards spawn here. Hook landed on the Janna and is just immediately shut down. Akali jumps into the Caitlyn. Unfortunately, still takes her down, and that looks like it might be close to game, ladies and gentlemen. With only 2 left to defend, the Heimerdinger and the Elise left on the Rift, whereas 4 of UMNs are still up with a lot of minions here on the base. Heimerdinger attempts an engage, definitely gets the stun on Lisa and deals a lot of damage here. Elise jumping in. Akali lands the stun on... Oh, goodness. And the Heimerdinger ult is going to shut down the Lee Sin, but Misfortune in response, killing Jax. Ooh, and unfortunately, that looks like another 3 kills for UMN. Renekton just zoning off the bot lane here. Janna ults Renekton into the fountain, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough. And ladies and gentlemen, that will be the game for today. UMN has won today's match. Please join us again next week, and we will see you then. Thank you very much.